כי ביתי הוא בית תפילה לכל עמים, כי ביתי הוא בית תפילה לכל עמים. Sing with us at home. כי ביתי הוא בית תפילה לכל עמים, כי ביתי הוא בית תפילה לכל עמים.
Our home is a home of prayer for all people and all nations. Our home is a home of prayer for all people and all nations. My home is a home of prayer for all people and all nations. My home is a home of prayer for all people and all nations.
Kadosh, 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 קדושה, 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 קדוש, 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 קדושה, 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 לכל העמים.
Welcome everyone. Shana Tova. May this be a good year, a year filled with sweetness, a year filled with community. It's beautiful to see all of your faces.
thank you so much for beaming back whatever it is that you are receiving. It just helps us feel so connected to all of you. My name is Julie Batz, and along with Maggie Jhos Singer, we are the congregational leaders of this beloved community of Chokhmat Halev. We're joined for these services by our musical partner and co-creator, Lior Tsarfaty, by Kiki Lipsett, who will also be leading prayers and song, Shira Kammen, who has been playing with us for so many years, Doni Benedictson, and Michaelle Goerlitz. This is our sacred music ensemble, and it is our kavanah, our intention, to help you connect deeply to the prayers and to this whole journey of the days of awe, the Yamim Noraim. You have a few tools with you. If you haven't already, it might be a good time to print out your prayer sheet. This has all of the chants and prayers that we will be sharing together, so you can follow along. You'll see that you're on mute right now, and you'll be on mute for the duration of the service. And in just a moment, we'll invite your dedications. The chat will be open to receive those, and then we're going to turn the chat off for the rest of the service to help us be as present as possible to this experience. We are trying to hold it all in a really difficult moment in life and in history. It's not the only difficult moment that we have come together in community to share, to support each other, to help each other along the way. So in that spirit, we invite you to take a moment and think about who and what you are dedicating this service tonight to. And it might be somebody that you're thinking of who's in need of some healing blessings. You might be dedicating a new intention, a new path for yourself. You might be remembering somebody who you wish could be here with you. So we'll take just a moment, invite you to please add your dedications into the chat. Thank you, everyone. The chat will be open for just another couple of minutes for us to capture the rest of your dedications. And one more thing for your makom, for the holy space that you're creating to be able to experience these services. A couple of times, once tonight and once tomorrow, we're going to invite you to write something on a piece of paper with a marker. So you might want to gather those tools in the next little bit. And with that, we are ready to bring in the Yom Tov light. It's my pleasure to ask and invite Ronnie, Andrew, and Sari to please bring in the light of this holy day.
Amen.
Amen, amen. Thank you so much.
So beautiful. Thank you all. Love to see your little pod there all together, multi-generational and gorgeous. So here we are, my friends. Here we are. And, you know, the basic task ahead is to embrace what might be and to figure out what was we need to keep and what we need to shed. That's it. That's what this whole thing is about. And, you know, as you well know, the tradition that we are familiar with, if we are, is something that was invented. It was invented, it was cobbled together out of broken pieces of a completely different world. It was little fragments of what had been that were tooled and shaped and forged into new tools that were relevant and useful and, in fact, powerful for a changing world. Oh, how perfect that that's where we are right now. So think of this image that our master teachers gave us, the image of a gate that is locked all year. But on this day, that gate is unlocked. And with creaky, rusty hinges, it starts to open. And right now, that creaking is just starting. You can hear like the clattering of the chain and the pushing of metal against metal. And those gates open into a chamber, into a vault where our prayers can go and be heard, where all the weight that's in our heart can be opened through song and word and silence and breath. Anything that you might be feeling ambivalent about, anything that you might be feeling strongly about, anything that you might be feeling worried about, or anything that you're feeling grateful for, all of that is expressed. And on this night, it doesn't meet a closed gate. On this night, it meets an open gate. Those gates are open. So take a moment, imagine what that metaphor means for you. Where in your life are there places that your words have not been heard? Your actions have not been recognized. Your pain has not been met with compassion. And your joy has not been celebrated with you. And imagine those places opening up right now for you. That's where we're at. So let's start praying.
Light is seated for those who are righteously moving through the world. It's our custom at Chochmat Halev to pray in many ways, to pray with our voices, to pray with our intention, to pray with our feet and our hands. And if the Spirit moves you, please feel free to move in whatever way suits you.
Oh, Zarua, Latzadik, Ul Yisrael, Simcha. Oh, Zarua, Latzadik, Ul Yisrael, Simcha.
piece of this work in the next 10 days is the work of forgiveness. It's the work of looking back over this last year, of acknowledging the places where we have fallen short, we've disappointed ourselves or others, we've missed the mark. And one of the tools that we use to enter this time so that we have the courage to actually go there, we have the courage to look at that deeply, is we offer a forgiveness prayer. You can find the forgiveness prayer on your outline.
Please read with me. Ruler of all worlds, Ribono Shel Olam, I hereby forgive anyone who has angered or troubled me, as well as anyone who has injured me physically or financially, in my honor or in any other way, whether violently or intentionally, accidentally or willfully, by speech or deed, thought or intention, in this incarnation or in any other. May no one suffer on my account. May it be your will, my divinity and divinity of my parents, that I live with integrity. Please may I fall short no more, nor revert to my old patterns. Let me not behave with resentment or anger. Transform all the misdeeds I have committed through your endless compassion, but not by sickness or suffering. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, my rock and my redeemer.
Right when we open the gates and going inside, we're going to sing a very simple chant together, a very simple chant with 4 words: Elohim, Eloha, Shekhinah, Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. And just reciting again the words of the divine in different ways, in every way that feels right for you. Just before that, if you feel comfortable, to close your eyes for a minute and to put your feet on the ground. And just while we're entering this new year, with all its ups and downs and yes and no's and corners and turns, inviting us just to sit with this intention of connecting to God, being with God, whatever that means for you. Dedicating ourselves to God. It says in many places that the world was not created for God, and God doesn't really care what we do with the world, but it's more what we do in this world that was created with us, within us. So I'll start with a short poem, a human prayer, and then we'll chant those words. I dedicate my body, child of the earth, to the sacred work, so that I might always feel the wisdom of the path. I dedicate my mind, mirror of the sky, to the sacred work, so that I might always know the nature of the path. I dedicate this breath, Ruach, spirit of the air, to the sacred work, so that I might always hear the teaching of the path. I dedicate my friendships, forest of life, Kehillah, Chevruta, Chaverut, to the sacred work, so that I might always live the purpose of the path. I dedicate my nature, beloved self, neshama, to this sacred work, so that I might always remember that the path is love. Elohim, Eloha, Shekhinah, Yud Hei Vav Hei, 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 Elohim. Chant with us. Elohim, Shekhinah, Yud Hei Vav Hei, Elohim, Shekhinah, Yud Hei Vav Hei, Elohim, Eloha, Shekhinah, Yud Hei Vav Hei.
Feeling that connection to our breath, to our voice, to these wild Rube Goldberg contraptions that we call our bodies. And knowing that there's some animating force, there's something that's ising us into existence. And speaking to that, bringing it through us, making it real. We are moving into our evening here in California. I see there's people from Canada and East Coast and lots of folks from all around. So you may be going into your morning, depends on where you are. But we're going into our evening here in California. And the evening, is so beautiful. The night is so magical because it's this place where we get this dichotomy of being able to see much farther in the dark than we can in the day. That simple truth that what you see at night is so much farther away than what you see during the day. And to enter into that place of long vision. It's not darkness, it's long vision, it's mystery. It's just a different way of seeing. It's a different way of experiencing the world, even without using vision, using our bodies to feel the temperature cool and the air stills in a different way at night than during the day. And that coolness also allows us to feel more, kind of wakes up our senses in a way that warmth lulls us into comfort. So we're going to move into that place of mystery. We'll begin with the Baruch Hu, the traditional, more or less, call to prayer. So if you're comfortable, please rise in body or in spirit.
Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, dear one, Shekhinah, Shekhinah, holy name, when I call on the light of my soul, when I call on the light of my soul, when I call on the light of my soul, I come home. Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, dear one, Shekhinah, holy name, when I call on the light of my soul, when I call on the light of my soul, when I call on the light of my soul, I come home. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
We're about to go into the Ma'ariv Aravim, the blessing on the creation, the blessing on the evening. This is, as John O'Donohue says, this is the time to be slow. Lie low to the wall until the bitter weather passes. Try as best you can not to let the wire brush of doubt scrape from your heart all sense of yourself and your hesitant light. If you remain generous, time will come good, and you will find your feet again on fresh pastures of promise, where the air will be kind and blushed with beginning. I want to invite you to take that piece of paper and that marker that you have nearby. This is the beginning of the letting go. This is the beginning of figuring out what is your holy work. And I want to invite you to answer this question or these questions with one or two words or a very short phrase. What are you letting go of, or forgiving, or hoping to change? What are you letting go of? What are you forgiving? What are you hoping to change? And when you've written that down, I just invite you to put it up close to your camera so that we can see it on gallery view. And we're just going to hold those images for a few moments. What are you letting go of? What are you forgiving? Or what are you hoping to change this year? And the closer you hold them up to your camera, the easier it will be for folks to see. And if you don't want to share it, that's fine too. This is your work to do. Fear and anger, pleasing people. Judgment. Self-doubt. Control, ego and despair, shame. Regret. Thank you for your vulnerable sharing of what's on your hearts. That's what the real liturgy is. It's everything that we're holding together, everything we're bringing in this moment. And as the day comes to an end and the night and the darkness roll in turn with the light, just as the seasons change, may we let go of what needs to be released, and may we welcome what is coming. Adonai Tzevaot Shamaon El Chai V'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Leolam Vaed Baruch Atah Adonai Hamarim Aravi.
אין עוד מלבדו, אין עוד מלבדו, אדוני הוא האלוהים. אין עוד מלבדה, אין עוד מלבדה, השכינה היא האלוהים. אין עוד מלבדו, אין עוד מלבדו, אדוני הוא האלוהים. אין עוד מלבדו, אין עוד מלבדו, אדוני הוא האלוהים. אין עוד שכינה מלבדה, אין עוד מלבדה, השכינה היא האלוהים. עד אין עוד מלבדו, אין עוד מלבדו, אדוני הוא האלוהים. אין עוד מלבדו, אין עוד מלבדו, אדוני הוא האלוהים. אין עוד מלבדה, מלבדה, אין עוד מלבדה, השכינה היא האלוהים. We're singing those words again and again. There's nothing but God, there's nothing but the breath, there's nothing but our heartbeat. So if you're able to open, and if you can, I want to invite you to open the new year with putting your hand on your heart. There's nothing but that heartbeat. Nothing but the breath. Just taking a moment to feel that precious heartbeat that just goes and goes. To rest and letting the breath and your hands that feels the vibration of your heart just to lead you into the moment, lead you into chesed, into compassion. What if we build a whole new year from chesed and compassion? Music. Sing with us. En od, en od, en od. En od milevado, en od milevado, Adonai hu האלוהים. שכינה en od milevada, מלבד השכינה היא האלוהים. ההוויה אין עוד מלבד אין עוד מלבד ההוויה היא האלוהים. אין עוד, sing with us, מלבד אין עוד מלבד ההוויה היא האלוהים. We're about to chant together our deepest, precious prayer, Shema, Shim'i. Listen wherever you are on your path everything is one, everything is connected. All those wrestling parts, all those unknowns, all this beautiful craziness of our world, it all comes down to this prayer. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Echad. Shechina Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Echad. Shechina Shema Yisrael Shechina Elateinu Shechina Shechina Achad. Havaya Adonai Shechina Achad. Adama Ima Adama Havaya Achad. We're taking all of that and we're spraying it and wrapping it with endless love. This is the part where you get to dance with your heart wherever you are. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך, בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. ואהבת ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך, בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל love upon love, love upon love, love upon love, upon love upon love, love upon love, upon love,
love upon love, upon love, love upon love, upon
את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאוד. Love, 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 love. Here we go.
love upon love, upon מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. איי 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 מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה, זה לי אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר כי פד אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Amen. We come out of that narrow place, as the psalm we just sang, come out of that very tight, narrow place of no hope, being so small and powerless, crushed. And yet, the universe doesn't want that. The universe wants us to find our way through it, like those wily weeds that find their way up through every crack in the sidewalk, any place where there's just barely the tiniest amount of earth to try. And so we try. We need some help, though. And I don't know if we invented God or God invented us, but we seem to be in a mutually necessary relationship. It seems to me that human beings need to know that there's something that would allow that seed to sprout even in the tiniest little pocket of earth. And we need to know that even when things are at their hardest, that we are being nurtured and nourished somehow, that there's love enough somewhere for us. And so this next piece is really about that. And here was one thing I have to just tell you, a little story. I was going to try to put it in the drosh, but I don't think it's going to work, so I'm going to do it right now. Here we go, my friends. The first time Julie and I led High Holiday services together was 20 years ago. And it was a mere few days after 9/11. As we all know, 9/11 anniversary is going to happen this week. And the room was filled with pain and fear and anger and confusion and disbelief. And the service started, and it was really like, how are we going to do anything worthwhile tonight? And we got to this piece. You can keep noodling, Lior, that's fine. I love the noodling. It makes me sound like I'm on NPR or something, doesn't it? I love that. Radio Lab. So there we were, and people their shoulders were up like this, and I didn't know Julie very well at all. And in fact, I had made the gross error of never seeing her lead a service before we led those services. I mean, we worked together, and I knew she could sing, and I knew she was really smart and awesome, but I never actually seen her hold space. And we got to this piece, and she did what she's about to do. And something beautiful broke loose. And instead of the shoulders being up around people's ears, they dropped, and people's hearts, you could see them open, and you could see people open to each other. And I hope that we are able to keep doing that with each other, finding those moments of sweetness and beauty and generosity, that we can remain open to each other even as we are now 20 years later in another crisis time. So this is a melody from Livorno, Italy. It's the Hashki Venu. It basically talks about going into the night, feeling that love, feeling that presence, feeling that protection, feeling that surety that we will lie down in peace and rise up in peace.
Hashki Venu, Avinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu, malkeinu, l'chaim tovim, u'l'shalom. Ufros aleinu, sukat shlomecha, v'takeneinu malkeinu, ba'etza tova
We blow the shofar when the moon is hidden at the beginning of the month, for that is the time of our holiday. It is the law for Yisrael that this be a day of sacred judgment. Tikeu v'chodesh shofar ba'kasel leyom chageinu ki chok liYisrael hu mishpat lelohei Yaakov.
We're moving into the silent prayer. Getting ourselves prepared for moving into that space. What's in our heart? What are we looking to say? Who are we saying it to? What's our conception of where those voices go when they pass through that gate? Those emotions go when they enter that gate. How do we show up to that? So Lior and I are going to lead you into that place where you can work on those questions and give you a few moments to meditate, to pray. Just be still. Feel your breath. Here we are.
הנה אני,
Here I am.
כולי שלך,
I am yours.
עשה בי כרצונך,
Do with me as you wish.
באתי ריק,
I come empty.
אני נכנע,
I surrender.
ליבי נתון לחסדך,
My heart is at your mercy.
גם אם הכל
Even if everything
יישלל ממני,
is taken from me,
בתוכי כל האשמה,
I will hear your voice inside.
מן הכאב
And from the pain,
הוא ירימני,
raise me up.
ותמלאני בהשראה.
And fill me with love.
הנה אני,
Here I am.
כולי שלך,
I am all yours.
עשי בי כרצונך,
Do with me as you will.
באתי ריק,
I come empty.
אני נכנע,
I surrender.
ליבי נתון רק לחסדך,
My heart is at your mercy.
גם אם הכל
Even if everything
יישלל ממני,
is taken from me,
בתוכי
inside
כל האשמה,
I will hear your voice.
מן הכאב
And from the pain,
היא תרימני,
it will raise me up.
ותמלאני באהבה,
And fill me with love.
מן הכאב
And from the pain,
היא תרימני,
I will raise up
ותמלאני באהבה.
and be filled with love. Be filled with love. What happens when we are filled with love?
מן הכאב היא תרימני, ותמלאני באהבה. שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל ישמעאל ועל כל העולם.
May the one who makes peace above help us to find the courage and the desire, the perseverance and the dedication inside of ourselves, the dedication to make peace in our own hearts, in our own families, in our nation, and throughout the world. And let us say Amen.
Shana Tova,
Shana Tova.
Anyada Buena, good Yantif, a good new year. I want to dedicate my teaching tonight to my many mentors over the years. In chronological order, my mom, Mary Lou Johnson of blessed memory, my queer uncles, Charles Stanley and Bill Livingston of blessed memory, my beloved junior high English teacher, Bonnie Kahn Martin, Rabbi Yoel Kahn, Rabbi Jane Littman, Dr. Nan Geffen, Dr. Avram Davis, Rabbi Gershon Winkler, Dr. Ron Riesberg, Rabbi Bert Jacobson, Rabbi B'nai Lappi, Dr. Nomi Seidman, Dr. Dina Aronoff, Rabbi Dev Noiley, and Haravia Hagdola Rachel Brody. Without these guides along the way, I would have never learned what I've needed to learn. I would have never been steered back into my lane. I would have never come to be able to do the work that I do. And I'm eternally grateful to each and every one of them for everything they have given me. Okay, let's just take a nice deep breath. All right. Welcome. Whoever you are, wherever you are welcome here. Even though we are gathered in this virtual, weird form that we're in, separated spatially, we are connected spiritually. We are together in essence, if not in presence, scattered in body, but united in purpose to communally celebrate and grieve the passing of another year. What will it take for us to let go of this year, defined by the millions of lives lost to COVID, war, weather, famine, poverty, racism, phobia, and the legally sanctioned lethal combination of mental illness and guns? The stress and danger has left us tired and anxious, unsettled, and frustrated. Jewish wisdom encourages us to set this moment aside, to catch our breath and to reflect, to acknowledge that we are here, that we made it this far. It reminds us that our breath and beating heart are proof enough that we are blessed, having been written once more into the book of life. Tonight, in community, this tradition invites us to grapple with our established ways of acting, thinking, and feeling, shedding those habits that no longer serve us to make room for wild possibilities of an unrecognizable future. And that is a daunting task, to put it mildly. In addition to our individual challenges, humanity as a whole is at a tipping point right now. We are nearly 2 years into this pandemic while climate change wreaks havoc around the globe. Financial inequity is undeniable, and social friction is tearing us apart. These are draining and frustrating days, and to be honest, I find it a little hard to be excited about the future. A few weeks ago, I admitted to my friend and colleague, the fabulous Mr. David Green, that I felt more adrift and overwhelmed than ever trying to figure out what I was going to say to y'all tonight. Look, Jhos, he said, I'm sure every rabbi every year struggles to know what to say on the high holy days. But here's the thing. As a congregant, this year, I don't even know what I want to hear. So I lumbered on, and then Afghanistan went into a tailspin, and Hurricane Ida ripped into Louisiana and deluged New Jersey, and the inner-guzzling triple threat of crypto banking made it to the front page. And with each headline, my mind froze and my heart hardened. What could I possibly have to say that would lighten the load for you so that we can move even slightly forward? So I meditated and I studied. And in my meditation, this soundbite from the Rosh Hashanah liturgy kept rising and not floating away. 3 words, Hayom Harat Olam. Hayom, today, now, the day. Harat, to conceive, to be in a pregnant state, heavy or expectant. Olam, ancient, antiquity, eternity, forever, perpetual, world. So if you take that little kaleidoscope and turn it a few times, you're going to come up with a whole bunch of meanings. So I went on a little Hebrew road trip. More often than not, Hayom Harat Olam is translated by the blithe quip, today is the birthday of the world, and is used to frame Rosh Hashanah as a celebration of creation, with shofar party horns and sweet challah and apples dripping with honey, and everything is new and fresh and exciting. It's very, very upbeat. So I was like, why did that bubble up? Come on. Subconscious, what are you up to? A birthday party? Really? Now? I don't think so. Yeah, like a birthday party that takes place in a rehab center or in a cancer ward or in a prison maybe. I mean, there's hope in those places, but it's a little shaky, and there's a lot of hard work ahead. I'm all for celebrating creation, but not without accepting responsibility for all of the damage that we have wrought. This year, there is no getting around the fact that this moment in history is a crisis point. And so, who better to consult than the early rabbis who in 70 Kammen era watched the destruction of the Second Temple, the nexus of Jewish culture at that time? It isn't certain when the notion of Hayom Harat Olam came into the liturgy, but it is ancient, and some attribute it to those radical, fringy, alternative folks we now call rabbis. It's actually the first line of a short piyut, a prayer song poem from the Rosh Hashanah afternoon liturgy. It goes like this. Hayom Harat Olam. Today the world is expectant. Today all the beings of the cosmos will stand before you to be judged as children or as servants. If as children, be merciful with us, like a parent is merciful with their children. If as servants, then our eyes will hang on you until you are gracious with us and bring forth illuminating judgment like holy light. It's a supplication, a cry for mercy, for clarity, for grace, mournful, hopeful, fraught, courageous, resigned, resilient. It is a plea that is ancient and eternal. The world is full of mystery. We don't know what's going on. Be merciful with us. We don't know what to do. Be gracious with us. Show us the way. It lifts our insecurity as an offering on the altar. The insecurity, uncertainty, and anxiety is so familiar and immediate right now. And it's strangely comforting, for me at least, to know that our forebears left us some tools for navigating terrible times. And so did their forebears before them. The notion of harat olam, a turgid or pregnant world, comes from the reluctant prophet Jeremiah, who lived during an even earlier and even more unsettled and fractious, corrupt and violent time. His life bridged the destruction of the first temple in 586 before Common Era, which, having been given the onerous gift of prophecy, he knew was going to happen. Jeremiah described God's word as an inner fire that compelled him to call out the immorality, graft, and corruption of the temple leadership, who not only failed to inspire the people to turn away from their debauchery and vice and blasphemy, such as child sacrifice, like that kind of blasphemy, but they even egged them on. Jeremiah knew that it was going to take a radical course correction to avert the threat of epic disaster. And he also knew that it was probably too late for that shift. Unlike the other prophets before him, who had also cried and cajoled and coaxed the powers that be to stay upright, only to have their warnings go unheeded, Jeremiah knew that the big crash was going to happen on his watch. And he was despondent. Nevertheless, he kept warning, he kept chiding, hoping against hope for an 11th hour reprieve. In response to his scathing critiques and dire warnings against the temple leadership, Jeremiah was apprehended by Paschur, one of the temple leaders, who had him flogged and put into stocks for 24 hours. When he was released, Jeremiah could not contain himself. He called Paschur a terrorist. He continued his rant against the priests, pointedly repeating that they were responsible for the ensuing devastation. He ended by saying, "And you, Paschur, and all who dwell in your house, you will go into captivity. You will come into Babylon, where you will die and be buried along with all of your loved ones, to whom you lied and promoted falsehood." Fearing more reprisal, Jeremiah instantly regrets his outburst and says, "God's word was burning like a fire in my heart, stored in my bones, and though I struggled to contain it, I could not." And in a complete misery, he cries out, "Cursed was the day that I was born. Don't let the day be blessed when my mother bore me. Cursed is the person who brought my father the news and said, 'A boy is born to you,' and gave him such joy. Let that man be like a destroyed city. Let him suffer because he did not kill me before my birth, so that my mother might become my grave. V'rachma harat olam, and her womb remains swollen forever." Poor Jeremiah. How terrible to see the destruction around him and the destruction to come, and to feel utterly powerless to affect it. He was so alone with all that pain that his agonizing wish was to have never left the womb. I hear that. I hear in his despair a yearning for innocence, to have only dwelled in the bespoke world of the womb, to be the center of a universe that was built just for you, snug and safe and untroubled by this world, forever. To be in that place forever. Buffered from the terrible cruelty of humanity, but also locked away from kisses and kindness and humor and heroism. I understand his despair, and I wonder why that womb experience feels so remote now. What kind of awareness was possible in that sacred chamber? And I wonder if, as my body was being crafted in that ghostly realm, I wonder if some sense of wholeness was planted in my consciousness. And why, if our womb was so perfect, do we not have a better handle on how to make this world more like that womb. But whatever is happening, whatever was going on in there, each and every one of us was pushed or hauled out of that vessel, flung into this life, sputtering, wailing, and flailing. We arrived slightly unfinished with no defenses, completely vulnerable, and miraculously, our needs were met by others. Someone chose to care for each and every one of us here. Maybe ineptly, maybe for all the wrong reasons, or maybe expertly and driven by love. But however it got done, we were tended. We were tended well enough to have survived. And somehow, here we are in this broken and beautiful world, and we have found our way here to this gathering tonight to rejoice and grieve, to tremble and dance. We are here, my friends, to care for and be cared for by each other. We are here to care for and be cared for by each other. That is what drove Jeremiah into his rage. He could see that all the pain and suffering, all the loss and trouble was because people stopped caring for each other. They didn't care about the earth. They were preoccupied with attaining power, and they lost their connection to the divine. And this left Jeremiah very alone, because he could sense, and he could feel, and he could see the divine in everything. According to the Renaissance commentator Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, part of a prophet's function may include being sent on a mission by God. But this in itself is not the essence of prophecy, nor is it necessary that a prophet be sent on a mission to others. The essence of prophecy is that one be attached to their source and through it experience revelation. The Talmud asserts that there were hundreds of thousands of prophets in their era. People who opened their minds and their spirits, their bodies and their hearts to what today we loosely call spirituality. These folks offered themselves to their communities as artists and healers, scholars and teachers, musicians and dancers. They were ordinary people who understood that their actions, their words, and their presence mattered. They saw that spirit was the driving force of the universe, not money or political power, not status or conquest, just the pursuit of love and compassion and joy and delight and curiosity and reverence and justice and understanding. That is what would generate a womb of peace. I take comfort in hearing from those prophets. They watched their world burn and crumble too. They felt powerless in the face of crisis that tumbled towards them, one after the other. And it's because of their faith in each other and their students, and their students' students, and in their children, and their children's children, and their students' children, and their children's students, creating a tangled and brilliant web of connection that has strung its way all the way to us. It's because of that. It's because of them. It's because of that caring, even in tumultuous and broken times, that we are here tonight, a congregation of prophets, to celebrate and contemplate this ever unfolding life together. Anew by Rabbi Rachel Barenblatt. Here's the thing. The year begins anew, even in the worst of times. The leaves will turn and fall, and then they'll grow again. And sometimes we're afraid and we can't know what choice to make to keep anyone safe. Uncertainty is a bear. All we can do is seek out sweetness everywhere we may and work to fix what brokenness we find. And the good news is that we're not in it alone. We'll help each other hope when the light seems dim and lift the sparks that darker days reveal. We'll love each other fiercely. In the end, there's no greater work that we can do. We who survive will help heal each other.
You watch the slow train moving through the city late at night, adjusting back and forth against the darkness and street lights. I know that you're feeling bad, but I'm glad you did alive. It's easy to get caught up, but you know you can always walk away. The life is the red wagon rolling along. The life is the red wagon, simple and strong. The life is the red, oh, it's no big deal. But when your feet are dragging, oh, will you pull for me? And I pull for you, and you pull for me. I pull for you. Past the team in marketplace and the blur of faces there, past the silent dockyards and the darkness looming there. Well, maybe it won't work this time, but that's the risk you take, and you want to take it. And just as long as it feels right, doesn't matter. Just as long as doesn't matter, gotta feel good, though you don't know why. The life is the red wagon rolling along. The life is the red wagon, simple and strong. The life
Shana Tova.
Let's take all of those thoughts, all of those prayers, everything that you've shared from your heart that we're holding together, and direct them in service of healing of the mind, the body, the spirit. In our community here at Chochmat Halev, we're extending love and healing blessings to Susan Felix, to Carol Suveda, to Linda Newman-Buckle, Marcy Berman, Shoshana Dvora, Bat Yudit Hashel, and Yesod HaShalom. Please feel free, if you'd like, to add the names of whoever you might be sending healing blessings to into the chat now. You may be in need of this blessing. It's okay to ask for that for yourself too, because we're sending you light. We're sending you light to heal you and hold you. We're sending you light to hold you in love.
Sending you light to heal you and hold you. Sending you light to hold you in love. Elna Refanala, sing with us, sing with us. Elna Refanala, Elna Refanala, Elna Refanala. May you be well, may you be well. Elna Refanala. We're sending you light to heal you and hold you. We're sending you light to hold you in love. Sending you light, sending you light, sending you light to heal you and hold you. Sending you light to hold you in love. Elna Refanala, Elna Refanala, Elna, Elna, Elna Refanala, Elna Refanala. To all the parts of our world, of our heart, of our body, of our mind, our families and friends, the whole wide world. Elna Refanala, Refuah Shlema. Refuah Shlema. We're sending Refuah Shlema, Refuah Shlema, Refuah Shlema. May we be all be well. Refuah Shlema. We're sending you Refuah
May we and they soon know a time of full and complete healing. And let us say, Amen. Please rise in body or spirit for a chant on the Alinu.
Place of oneness, that place of recognizing there is a oneness. As much as we believe in all the little individual parts of this world, they are all attached, one to the other in a giant net, giant web of energy and purpose, caught in the constant flow of life and death. And so our thoughts turn from that to death, to those who have died, to those peoples whose life has touched us, has moved us, has influenced us and changed us, and who has left a little bit of themselves in us. The mourner's Kaddish comes along to inspire us to praise, to throw our heads back and say, this world is beyond good. There's beauty and majesty here that I can't even begin to comprehend. We invite you to add the names of those folks for whom you are saying Kaddish tonight into the chat so that we can welcome in their spirit. In our Chochmat Halev community, we extend love and care to Shai Wolf, whose mother Marianne died last week, and to our executive director, Dorit Gashuri, whose father, Yossi Gashuri, passed away last month. We're thinking about the nearly 500,000 people who have died of COVID. We're thinking about the people who have been lost to weather changes, to weather events, to those who are in war zones, and to those who are in despair. Take a moment to think about something that you absolutely just freaking love in this life. And try to imagine explaining that to someone, why you love it, how you love it. And if you love it the way I'm thinking about loving something, you'll know that eventually you're just going to say, I don't have words. I just feel it. It's a feeling. It's a part of me. Well, that's what's being zoomed down into us. And that's what we offer up on behalf of those who are no longer here, to either hear us say it or share their own loves. So gather their memory into your heart. If it's your practice to rise during the mourner's Kaddish, we invite you to rise at this time. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Be'alma divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh. B'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'izman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach. Leolam ulalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudasha b'richu. La'ela ula'ela mikol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru.
Amen.
Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu. V'al kol Yisrael. V'al kol Yishmael. V'al kol Yoshvei Tevel. V'imru.
Amen.
Oh, say shalom bimromav, huya say shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol Yishmael, v'al kol Yoshvei Tevel v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
May the one who makes peace all around us be patient with us as we try to find that peace in our hearts and in this world. And let us all say, Amen.
Amen. We have so many people to thank for helping to make these High Holy Days so special. Starting with our incredible friends and comrades on the Bima Shira. Thank you, Kiki. Thank you, Lior, Michaelle, Doni. Thank you so, so much. We have a tashlich ritual, a casting out, the symbolic casting out of our sins from the last year. You'll be hearing more about that, and it will be led by Jhos, Rabbi Lynn, Mike Perlmutter, and the Saul Goodman Klezmer Band. We thank all of them. We have deep gratitude for Dorit Gashuri, our executive director, and her whole team here at Chochmat, Yarn, Cecily, and Pam. Thank you so much to our High Holy Day Committee, volunteers who year after year have stepped forward to focus our community and to help make every aspect of these services happen. Janet, Lisa, Peggy, Carol, and Dorit. We want to thank the several anonymous folks who sponsored tonight's service in honor of our dear Susan Felix. Our stage manager, Jennifer Beresin, thank you so much. Our sound master, Paul Knight. Our live streamer, Alan Cash. Our unbelievable Zoom Gabbai, Steve Friedkin, who has really held all of this together with us since the beginning of the pandemic, to the artists who helped to create this special high holiday feel in our sanctuary. Hagit and Nadine, Alice and Irene, Lior, Charn, and Dorit, thank you so much. Thank you, Ronnie and Sari and Andrew and Orion, for lighting candles and bringing in the holiday light. To the folks who helped get the word out about these services, Sherry, Lee, and Jenny. To my sister Leslie for her on-site support. We will close our service with this beautiful chant from Psalm 27. We invite you to feel lifted in body or spirit by these words. Our hearts should be strong. We should be courageous. Good faith together. We can do this. There's only one thing I ask for every day: to live in a house that's safe and strong, where your love surrounds me and I'm not afraid. A sanctuary where I know I belong. I belong. Achat shalti met Adonai.
Achat shalti met Adonai.
Achat sha'alti met Adonai.
Achat sha'alti me'et Adonai.
Kave
Wherever you are, make some special noise for these two, for Jhos and Julie, who this is their last Rosh Hashanah with us. I don't know what I'm going to do, but we don't know where they're going, but they're going somewhere, and we bless them with love and gratitude from all of us, everybody. We will hope. Kaveh, kaveh, kaveh l'Adonai, kaveh, kaveh, kaveh l'Adonai, kaveh l'Adonai, chazak ve'ametz libecha, vekaveh l'Adonai.
Shana Tova.
Good Yantif. We'll see you in the morning. Good Yantif.